Welcome back to the third installment of the VRChat documentary, The Community Spotlight. Previously, we've explored the first two aspects of the growing online virtual reality social platform, VRChat. To recap, we explored the origins of how the platform grew its infamy, but also we explained further into how the game actually performs and is developed further by its fast-growing community, attracting content creators such as YouTubers and Twitch streamers, but also talented individuals who create and build everything we see and interact with in-game. There is one more aspect of the platform that is fundamental to the game's growth and presence: the community. VRChat has developed a strong and growing community of players that have formed tight-knit bonds and an established culture that is unique to most other online games. By sharing and networking with each other freely, people have become deeply attached to their friendships and interactions. In this final episode, we will explore the different areas of that community and gain insight into why this game is unlike any other platform. These are the people who play VRChat. I began playing VRChat in January of 2019, and in those few months, I have been privileged to be part of the small and the large groups that populate the game. From world builders to entertainers, and even the people who simply experience everything that the game has to offer. We will get to hear from representatives as well as other individuals about their experiences with the communities they've been a part of, and the bonds that they share with others.
VRChat has become what it is because of its community. And I think this very much so is why when people come to me and they're like, oh, I found this game that's like VRChat, but it's better. No, it's not better. And let me explain to you why it's not better. Even if mechanically it's better than VRChat in every single way, the thing that it's missing is the community. VRChat has a community that has put so much time and effort and dedication into making VRChat what it is, into creating these fantastic worlds and avatars, and constantly innovating too, and finding out new things. And I think that's the thing, is that people don't understand, or not everyone understands, that most of the features of VRChat are there because of its community, not because of the developers. The developers are doing things, but most things are created by the community, and the developers just do things around the community.
It's not about just the anime girls with the big titties and looking like this and looking like that. It's not about being in a big fantasy. It's not about anything like that. What VRChat is really about is having fun. Because some people can't actually go outside and do that because they have social anxiety, or they're too shy to actually do it, or they're just that. The best way I can really describe this is VRChat is not about a fantasy or being a fantasy. It allows you to virtually go outside and actually communicate with people that you can't do IRL. Weirdos like myself, where I have social anxiety IRL. I don't like talking to people outside. I prefer to talk to people on the internet. But being with these people, my social anxiety is not there. I can be myself and not feel like I can be judged, because we're all weirdos, right? That's the beauty of VRChat. That doesn't mean that the community is bad because someone wants to be an anime girl, or a neko, or a loli, or whatever they want to be. It means that you want to socialize. It's the reason why the name of the game is VRChat.
When I first started my own VRChat related content on Twitch and YouTube, I started out with Luxurian World, an RPG adventure world developed by Lakuza, who himself was kind enough to invite me to their own groups and help me network with the world builder communities. Thanks to his help, I was able to meet with the administrators of the VRC prefabs community, Cyan Laser and Fiona.
Well, it's interesting because it started off as like there was a group of people who had been around since before the 2018 meme spike, right? And so all the world makers that were around, they weren't on the official Discord. So we were kind of intimidated by them. So like Diu and Magic Monkey and Lakuza and myself and like, a handful of other people, we started up our little like noob world creator Discord, which was prefabs, because we noticed that a lot of people were asking for the same thing over and over. And instead of like sharing files in the official Discord where they would easily get lost, we started up like a little spreadsheet and then like a little group to create these things. And it just started as basically like a pretty social server with a mission. And since then, it became less about just making the prefabs and more about just world building in general. And over time, we still kept it kind of so it's not open. And I think that's one of the ways that the community has been successful is like it's been very important to me to keep it still, even though it is topic focused, it's a very social community. So like we see each other in game a lot. We talk on the server about things that aren't necessarily world building all the time, although most of it is world building. And we like, have made sure that it didn't grow too fast. We didn't want thousands of people in the server who didn't all know each other.
As we've previously mentioned, VRChat offers users the ability to create worlds and avatars using 3D modeling software such as Unity by offering a free software development kit to directly upload people's creations and share them publicly.
Yeah, so pretty much like when someone seeks us out, or if we see somebody who's doing like, advanced world building stuff, we'll invite them in. If we like go to a world and like, oh, this place is really cool, look up the author, find them on Discord, invite them in. That's pretty much how it grows right now.
When I started looking into our world building itself, I did not really look for help. I didn't know that other people were able to help. So I just kind of did YouTube videos, and the only thing out there was Fruitpex's, like 2 tutorials. And on there, she says something like she has no idea what she's doing. So it's like, okay, I'm going to spend 1 month learning how to make worlds. And then eventually I made something, I made it public, and, I got the thrill of doing that. During this time, I kind of was reading or skimming like the official Discord's world channel, but I never actually responded. So eventually I got the courage to start asking questions and also answering questions. And one day through that, I think Fiona basically said she had finished a prefab. She was showing it off to some people, and I was like, hey, can I also view it? And so that way I met her was just saying, I want to see something that you made, which she then showed us, but then had to leave for a family, for dinner or something, which Magic Monkey joined, and then Magic Monkey, showed me his world, and then invited me into prefabs. So I was just some guest person who got invited later on. And then about that same time, I was actually working on one of the updates for this map here. And so one of the comments that's saying hey, I can join this prefabs group and make the archery bows a prefab so other people could use it. I got invited to the prefabs group, and then me, how I am, I like to help people. And so I was gathering as much knowledge as I could about world building and SDK stuff, and so I was just kind of trying to find ways to help other people, and being invited to the prefabs group was a very great way for me to help people, and then answering questions in the Worlds channel.
I was so I'm not a coder at all. This was all just new and exciting to me, just learning how to use the Unity and the SDK. And so early on, I kind of thought of myself as a technical person, so I spent a lot of time on Worlds trying to help people out with what I knew. And it didn't take very long. It's only been a year and a half, basically, since I started, since a lot of people started this group in VRChat. And just over the first year, the amount of expertise that the community built as a whole is incredible. So we started off just being hey, what is, on enter trigger, and why would you use that instead of on enter collider? And now, just all these little technical details. And now the amount of sort of basic knowledge that we assume people have because there's so many tutorials. Oh, and another thing, so Cyan has made on the YouTube channel like a whole lot of like basic tutorials that take a lot of that sort of like steep learning curve out for world builders because they can just go and watch these. Whereas like we had to kind of like figure that all out from scratch in the beginning. And so like I would spend a lot of time helping on the Worlds Discord, and then as there became more knowledge out there, and also as Cyan became quickly obviously better at this than the rest of us, I just kind of like, oh, they got it, all right. And so then kind of moved my focus entirely over to prefabs, and so I only go onto the Worlds channel now and then. Now I'm actually focusing more on the quest development because no one seems to be doing a lot of helping there.
We build these things and we share it so that we can see it from other people using it. From my own like perspective on that is I build something or learn something to teach the other people because I don't have the time to build an entire world that just focuses on that. So I'd rather other people build it so that at least, somebody could use it when I know I couldn't at some point. So it's just more of sharing it so people can actually experience it. Otherwise, no one would.
Oh, and people do that all the time. They will make just random things. So our database will have things that are like, this is super useful and every world needs to use this, so like Hardlight's player tracker. That's how basically anything that attaches to the player uses the same system that he made like a year ago or so. And then there's, people would be like, hey, here's
beer pong.
Oh, yeah, here's beer pong. Actually, the beer pong has been, I requested that.
I was just looking through the Worlds channel one day and being like, so many people are requesting beer pong. Can somebody just please make a beer pong like prefab so that we can give to them? And then she saw that and requested it to Mimi. And then now people stop requesting beer pong because it's in the database.
Yeah, no, it's so funny because like the things that we think people want versus what people actually want. So at some point in the Worlds channel, someone's just like, oh, hey, how would you make a spin the bottle? And I was just kind of like, oh, that's an interesting problem. So I just kind of like sat down and tried to figure out how you'd make a spin the bottle mechanism and just kind of like dumped it into the channel just for that one person. And then, because we had the database, put it up in there. I think that's probably my most popular prefab. I have things that I think are much more useful, and like there's a lot of other prefabs in the database I think are much more useful, but the spin the bottle one I see all the time. The thing with world builders especially, is if I make something, I want to see it out there because like I want to experience the worlds that have that in there, and so like, with the climbing prefab, like we could have just used it ourselves and be like, okay, there's 5 worlds, and if we feel like making more, we could, but no, instead now we have like literally dozens of climbing worlds to choose from if we wanted to go climb something. And so that's kind of like a selfish helping in that here's how to do something so that you can build something for me to play with, which I think is a little bit different than avatars, because in avatars, those are all just to be used by one person at a time. And you don't necessarily get any extra benefit from releasing your avatar stuff other than just kind of the pride in sharing your things. But I think that's also a motivation. Having a tight-knit community where you know each other and you know each other's work. And I think that's one thing that our community does pretty well, in that we have the weekly meetups where people show off. You would think that we would run out of content. Never happens. Even on days where like, oh, only 2 or 3 people sort of have worlds ahead of time, like we don't ever seem to run out of content. There's always people making stuff, and if someone isn't showing, there's always someone who has something that they kind of want to show, but they maybe were a little bit too shy, but okay, we'll go there. Yeah, so you learn what other people are capable of, and you get cross-inspired by people. So much of what I've learned has been by seeing awesome things that other people do, get excited by it, and being like, I want to learn how to do that too. Oh, I love seeing that. There's people who they want to make photorealistic, beautiful environments. There's people who want to make just like every week new meme world. It's like Igbar and like everything in between. People who just make sort of like interesting mechanics. People who focus more on the sort of like modeling and animation or shaders. Oh my gosh, there's just like so many people who are so awesome. Is I think the best part about it. Everyone has the thing that they're good at. You know what I mean?
However, it has been through the community efforts and support that have helped other creators to develop their skills and necessary tools that offer so much to the realms of virtual reality. The collective efforts of world builders and avatar creators have been a key pillar in what attracts a lot of people to VRChat. Without their tight-knit communities and their willingness to share and teach others about the modelling software and the SDK, VRChat would not be what it has become today. There is one other key aspect about VRChat, and that is the content creators such as YouTubers and streamers, who all advertise and showcase the ongoings of VRChat and open a small window into the fun and excitement of the platform. I was fortunate enough to sit down and have a one-to-one interview with one of VRChat's more popular streamers, Lillly, who has grown a massive following on platforms such as YouTube and live streaming on Twitch, with VRChat being her more popular content amongst her fans.
I think, so I've been around on Twitch and streaming for a long time, like prior to VRChat. So I think that I kind of already knew how streaming works. I already knew how Twitch works. I had a lot of experience with entertaining an audience and with being a content creator. So from my perspective, VRChat was a tool for being able to create things that, you know, in other games, in other environments, you couldn't do. It gives you a lot of versatility, a lot of freedom to kind of create new situations, create new scenarios, create new environments that I just wanted to show to my audience. I just wanted to show to my community, and I started by just doing it with a small group of people watching my streams, and I guess over time, you know, through word of mouth and through other connections with other content creators, it just it just kind of took off, and I would say it felt different being a VRChat. I say a VRChat streamer to being a different streamer, because you have this very personal connection with your audience in VRChat. You can go and you can meet them, and you can say hey to them, you can give them a hug, you know, you can high five them, you know, and there's that thing that you can't get in other games, you know, you can't get in other situations. So I think that connection between streamer and audience was just, it was great. It still is great. Yeah, I do enjoy that. Due to the nature of the VRChat community, and due to the fact that we are quite a small, particularly on Twitch, but on Twitter and YouTube as well, we are quite a small community of content creators. In the grand scheme of things, you know, there's not that many people that are content creators for VRChat. And because of this, I think that there's sort of a mutual respect that we have for each other. You know, it's definitely not a case that you can turn and look at every other content creator and you're going to be best buddies with them, or you're going to you're going to instantly hit it off with them. I mean, you know, disagreements happen, but at the end of the day, there's this mutual respect. There's this level of, okay, well, you know, you're a VRChat content creator, I'm a VRChat content creator. If we bump into each other, we hang out, we have a good time, we bounce off each other. At least I'd say that's the majority of content creators. You know, you can't really say everyone and bundle everyone into one group, but I'd say that's the majority of interactions. You know, there's a level of mutual respect between us. It's different. It's different, and I'd say particularly off stream and on stream, it's different. Because people, you know, there's people who I know from a content creator perspective because we hang out on stream together and we do stuff on stream together, and then there's people that are also in the higher up circles, as you say, who I would actually consider real close friends, and I go out of my way to hang out with them. There's acquaintances and there's friends, and I'd say most content creators are in the acquaintance thing, and then you have some who actually become friends. Like you mentioned Hazard, right? Hazard is obviously an incredibly good friend, and I'm very close with Hazard. And then there are some others. I think explaining to someone that you're a YouTuber or a streamer, and that's your job, is always quite an interesting conversation. I mean, I tend to not go into too much detail about it when I talk to people IRL about it. People ask me what my job is. People ask me what I do for a living. I usually say I'm an online entertainer, which of course can be mistaken for for other things. But that's usually what I go for. I mean, there's always that weird interaction, and I would say this happens less so in real life, more so when you're talking to someone who doesn't know, who you are, and then particularly like if I'm playing another game, like I'm playing a game on Steam, right, and I bump into somebody, or I'm playing League of Legends. This is a good example, because this is actually something that's happened. So I'm playing League of Legends, and I team up with somebody, and then they say, hey, you want to talk on Discord while we play? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then through Discord, they see that I have a Twitch link, and they click it, and they're like, oh my goodness, you have a lot of fun. So that interaction's always really weird when people first figure that out. But and then of course they ask you, hey, what do you do? What do you stream? Oh, I stream virtual reality. And but yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting conversation whenever that comes up. I usually, if somebody asks me about VRChat, and I'd say more often than not, I have friends come to me and who don't play VRChat, and they say, can you introduce me to VRChat? Can you introduce me to some people? Can you get me involved? That's usually the interaction I have with people that aren't into VRChat. But I would say the way I convey it is this is obviously a personal thing, so this it's different for different people. But in being somebody who my job is online, I don't leave the house much, I don't go out much. There's a certain level of loneliness in that, even if you are hanging out with people and playing other games with people. And there's a difference between hanging out with somebody in VR and just playing a game with somebody and talking on Discord. I think there's a big difference, and you feel a lot more of a personal connection with somebody when you're with them in VR. You feel like you're not alone, like you're partying with your friends, you're having a good time. So I'd say, it feels real. Is that weird? Is that weird to say? I don't know. As I said, with Hazard, it was the crossing from Hazard being an acquaintance to Hazard being a very close friend. And it was kind of, so when I first, and I met Hazard through CC, another content creator, who I may know, and when I first bumped into Hazard, I didn't think much of it at the time. I added Hazard because we were both streamers, so we could hang out in future. And I was on a level with Hazard where we were just hanging out occasionally and bumping into each other occasionally for quite a long time. I think what kind of bridged that gap and made Hazard a close friend was we did this like mini kind of jokey RP on stream where Hazard was my dog. And I'd always be quite nasty to Hazard as my dog, I'd always mistreat him as my dog. But this caused us to hang out a lot more, and eventually, it got to the point where I was asking Hazard to come hang out with me off stream and to come spend time with me off stream. We had nights where we'd sit there and we'd just be talking to each other for hours and cuddling up and that's really, I guess, what built up the friendship. I mean, Hazard is just a lovely individual, and when I took the time to just sit there and talk to him one-on-one, and he conveyed his feelings and his thoughts to me, how he felt about certain things, and I did the same for him. I recuperated that to him. So it was just, it felt real. Like I felt like somebody was there for me. And I think he felt somebody was there for him, and he had a shoulder to cry on, which was, I think that really, there was one night where we were both in a pretty bad mood and we just spent hours talking to each other and in VR, and I think that night was really one of the branching moments that pushed our friendship to where it is now. Phenomenal, honestly. The community that I built, like my community that I built through VRChat, and it was through VRChat, is honestly the best community by far that I've ever had in my 7 years of being on Twitch. And I've actually started to branch out now. I do VRChat about 2 or 3 times a week now, and the rest of the week I do other stuff. And my community will watch and will get involved no matter what I'm doing. Obviously, I'd still say that the thing that I have the most people watching my stream on is VRChat, but I can do other things and people still enjoy it and they still have a good time. That included, I think when it comes to communities, I think Discord is probably the biggest thing that resonates with, you know, the term community. You know, if you have a Discord that's active, you have a community. And my Discord is always active. There's always people in the voice, not just in the text channels, but in the voice channels, hanging out, you know, chatting. I mean, every night in my Discord, I've got about 10-15 people chilling with the music bot on in the voice channel, just talking, and to think that this is something that these people are now friends. They're now friends with each other. Now they're now a little community, and it's because of me. You know, that's because of me. They were brought together because of watching my streams and because of coming to my Discord, and now they're all friends with each other. I also do this thing which I think has greatly helped this. I actually read to my community in Discord. I wouldn't say every night, but every 1 or 2 nights, I put out an announcement on my Discord, and I go in the channel, and we're reading through The Hobbit at the moment. We're doing like a chapter every few nights or so, and I just read to them. And it's just, I love it. I love it. I love my community. That's excellent. I love them. And it is because of VRChat. I would not have this community if it wasn't for VRChat. And we jump in VRChat together, and we hang out in VRChat together. You know, again, particularly on weekend nights, you know, I have numerous members of my community jump in VRChat and hang out with me in VRChat. It's always cool to see them hanging out. Some of them on desktop, you know, some of them on desktop, but some of them in VR. You know? And people, that's the other thing, right? Is people in my community who have bought VR and even bought full body because of watching my streams. You know, that's a really good feeling as well, because, you know, I've encouraged them to get more involved in VR. Really good. In short terms, really good. I love my community. I think I have a fantastic community. I wouldn't trade them for the world. Yeah, so VRChat definitely has a community like no other, and I put out a tweet on this a while ago that went pretty big on the VRChat Twitter scene about this, but I will kind of just repeat what I sort of conveyed in that. VRChat is sort of like the world in miniature, if that makes any sense. Or the internet in miniature, however you want to put it. You have lots of different people from lots of different backgrounds, you know, all in one small place, you know, in a miniature place in comparison to the world as a whole. Yet, I see that while there's always going to be people who look at this in a negative light, and not everything's positive, but for the most part, it's the world in miniature, but better. The VRChat community, at least once you get to know the right people, is far more accepting than I think any other community I've been in. You know, like most communities in other games and in League or in MMOs or in, you know, MMOs I think you can most compare to VRChat. They're quite I don't know if elitist is the word, but you usually have quite elitist communities. Whereas the VRChat community, there's definitely some people who are like that, you know, like the whole, trusted user, if you're not trusted, you know, you can't be friends with it. But it's a very small amount. And for the most part, you know, the community is incredibly accepting to everyone. And it is unique in the sense that you have mutes. Mutes are a perfect example of this. The massive amount of mutes in this community, you know. In another game, you know, you bump into somebody and they don't want to talk, you know, you're probably not going to hang out with them, you know. I remember being in guilds in MMOs before, and we had people who didn't talk, and it was like, oh my god, can you just talk? I need to communicate with you, can you just talk? You know, and people get on, but mutes are such a huge part of VRChat, and you know, for the most part, a very positively, you know, there's a lot of positive reaction with mutes. You know, I have some very close friends who are mutes, you know, and I think from the outside looking in, people can see that and they can think, you know, how can you be friends with a mute? And I did. When I first came to VRChat, I didn't understand the concept of mutes when I first came. I was like, mutes? What's that all about? You know, how can you be friends with me? How can you? But you can. Like, you can. You can. And it's really hard to explain into words. Yeah, no, crazy. So many different types of people, and so much kinder than the rest of the internet, I think. And again, as I said, you know, there's always going to be the negative side, and there's always going to be somebody who points out and is like, oh, you know, but I ran into bad problems. Yeah, not everyone's perfect, you know, no matter what community you go to, that's going to be the case. But I just say for the most part, VRChat is much, much kinder, much more accepting than other communities.
Users of VRChat have been given a free opportunity to build and create wonderful things. From worlds we could only once dream of, to building a vast community of entertainers and creative freedom to share the fun of exploring virtual realms and characters. And amongst these people have also built long-lasting bonds of friendship and community, some even referring to these bonds as family even.
So the best way I can describe this is that I currently have a family right now that me and 5 other people have put together, and we have like maybe above 25 people into the family now, ever since we first started it. And the name of the family is called Demons and Angels. We kind of went on with this name on Demons and Angels because there's the people that are like demons but still have a soul, and then there's peoples that are absolute angels that they show nothing but love and support and care and all that stuff. So that's why we called ourselves the Demons and Angels. For example, one of our mottos is prove them wrong. And with this family, our whole point with this family is we support each other. We are there for each other. We make sure that everyone is like healthy, happy, and we check up on them every once in a while to see, you know, why they haven't been active and basically what's been going on. With this family, we try to support each other. Like, in this family, we have a bunch of streamers, of course. And the main thing that we do is that we just support each other. We're there for each other. We try to have fun with each other. We explore with each other. And, you know, like I said, support each other. We try to get some of my viewers to go to another person that's a part of the family. And that person sends their viewers to another person that's a part of the family just to help them grow more and more. But the main thing about this family, it's not just the streaming, it's the love and care that this family does. And that is honestly what a VR family should be like. Nothing but love, care, and support. Not to mention, they also try to help you get out of situations that you don't want to be in, like a financial situation on you, like, I don't know, let's say that you got a chargeback out of nowhere from some random person that decided to send you some money, and they decided to charge back on your, on that donation that they sent you. Your friends will try everything that they can to make sure that you at least have a little bit of that money to pay for some of the stuff that you were going to use that money for, which is for like bills or rent or but really whatever you're going to use the money for. And then there's the people that will like try everything that they can to make sure that you're happy and healthy, and they try so much to make sure that you're okay. They check up on you almost every day. Like once you get to the right side of VRChat, because VRChat does have two sides, the good side and the bad side. Once you get to the good side of VRChat, everything changes. You meet, like I said, so many people that will like show you what love, support, and care is like that people have never felt before. But other than the whole thing with VRChat, like, it's been nothing but positive, and I don't think I've ran into more positivity rather than negativity in VRChat. Mainly because, one, I have way too many friends that are on here that if I even disappear out of nowhere, everyone's gonna like ask, where am I? Where have I been? And are gonna be checking up on me to see like, hey, are you okay? You know, because it's not normal for me not to be on VRChat for more than a week, because I'm always on it, like maybe either every day or like 4 to 5 times a week. And it was really hard for me to find friends that actually showed like a lot of love and actually like miss me to the point where they worry about me, like, I wonder if he's okay kind of deal. And that's what VRChat has showed me. It showed me that people do still care. It shows that there's people out there that are very supportive. It shows that people still love him and can still love you. And even if you feel like that no one cares about you, all you have to do is just walk up to a friend, explain to them how you're feeling, and they will try to make you feel like you are severely loved, and they will even try to announce on like a private Discord that you're in with them, being like, I need you guys to show some love to this person because they feel like blah 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 blah. And that's the experience that I got to see. It's the same way with my VR family. The moment that I'm down, everyone is right there, willing to give me a hug. The moment I get online, and the moment that I either join a world that they're in or I get invited to a world that they're in, the first thing they do is hug me. Every time that I'm down. Just tell me you are loved and we're here for you. If they're having fun, why the hell should that matter to you? If it looks fun, give it a shot. Because you never know. They don't just allow VR users, they allow desktop users. You can play on desktop, and if you feel like that you should give this a try in virtual reality and bought your own headset, give it a try. You might like it, you might not. Everyone has their own opinions. But you honestly shouldn't just smash talk about someone like that. That prefers to be in a fantasy game, who probably has social anxiety and can't actually do this IRL. Personally, I love VRChat. It got me a home that I can go to every time. It gave me a family that care about me, and it gave me a bunch of friends that get excited every time that I hop online. I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's probably going to even be a while for someone to create a better platform than VRChat.
Because VRChat tends to have a bad reputation. But then, like, I try not to talk about those. Like, I have talked to my coworkers about how much time I spend in VRChat. But it's just, like, people often see it only for, like, the bad things of, like, oh, it's either full of bad memes or full of, like, people harassing other people. Like, you're probably going to bring up the other point of what it's called harassment simulator.
Yeah.
I just tell them all the other things. It's like, I don't go in towards, like, bad communities. I'm just in the community of people who make things and want to help other people. This is a social platform, so the entire thing is just meeting new people, and it's, like, actually a fun experience.
You know, virtual and online, some people forget that there is a human behind every voice or every avatar. But for the most part, like any social thing, if you are going to go out into the middle of public and just, like, I don't know, go sit in a rowdy bar somewhere and expect to not have rowdy drunk people accost you, yeah, like, that's not going to happen. However, if you go somewhere where you're likely to find people of shared interests, you're much more likely to make real connections. And so, just like anywhere in real life, VRChat's the same. So when I first started out, I would just hang out in avatar testing. I'd go to public instances, and, like, people would be there testing out stuff they made, and I would just ask them questions about what they made, and that's how I met some people. I would say that when I try to explain VRChat to other people, I do focus on the positive, because it gets enough negative press. Who writes these articles? Some journalist hears about VRChat and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go try it out. I have no social contacts in there, so I'm just gonna, like, stick on an avatar, go into a public instance and see what's going on. You're not gonna get a real experience that way. It's not accurate, you know? So you really do need to talk to people who have formed social networks and bonds within the app to understand what it's really like. And most of those people are all very positive because, like, they have found communities and they have found something, or they wouldn't still be here.
One hell of an experience. No, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to summarize it. I think that it's such a strange beast that it's difficult to put it into kind of simple terms. I think that the easiest thing that I can say is for somebody who isn't a VRChat user, or for somebody who's new to VRChat, you need to look deeper than the surface level to experience VRChat. Nobody can jump into VRChat and play it for a week and say that they've experienced VRChat. You haven't even experienced, the surface. You haven't even experienced, 10% of VRChat. There's so much to it. There's so much to explore. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. There's so much to experience. It changed my life, not just in a streaming sense, but You know, I mean, I could go off now and stream other games and turn my back on VR chat, but I don't. I still come back to it. And even if I got to the point where I no longer streamed VR chat, like even if I got to the point where I no longer streamed VR chat at all, I would still play VR chat. I would still come on VR chat off stream. I would still hang out with my friends because it is just completely different to anything else. I'd love to see that not just VR chat, but I'd love to see where virtual reality goes in the future, and you know what changes and what advancements will happen to it. I mean, full body is just a starting point, right? Like, crazy to think how far things could go down the line, you know, 10, 15 years from now. I think the most important thing that I can say is there are so many different faces to VR chat. There are so many different sides to VR chat, and I think there's one for everyone. I think finding that one, and when you eventually find that one, that's going to be when you fall in love with VR chat. That's going to be when you make a connection to VR chat. That's going to be when you become when you find the part that's for you, because there's a part for everyone.
The best way I can really describe it is that if I had a friend that was asking me what is VRChat, I would honestly have them either come over to my house, have them use my VR headset, and just let them do whatever they want to do in VRChat. Have them experience what it actually means and what it's actually like. Have them meet my friends and all that other stuff. Just so that they could have the most amazing friends that I have, that they can also call their friends now. That's literally the best way I can actually sum it up to people, is give it a shot, because there is desktop support. Not to mention, like, there's other ways that you can do to try out VRChat without having to use desktop. You can use your own cell phone now to play VRChat just by using Steam Link. It's honestly incredible on what you can really do in VRChat. Like, the possibility is endless at this point.
I don't know all what I've gained or benefit from it yet, because I'm still growing. I'm still, like, you know, meeting people. I'm still in the process of going up. But when I do look back at, like, when I started everything, all I see is just growth. Like, all I see is like VRChat literally changed my life. You know, like, it's funny because you think something big would change your life, but nope. All I did was just hit an install button, and then boom, everything changed. I met so many cool people. I got into map making. Like, I knew about Unity, but I was never really interested in it. I never thought I could model or anything like that, but here I am making whole entire VR virtual reality worlds that I never thought I could do, you know? And then you have friends that help you along the way, and it's just like so much growth and so much love and support. It's like once you start, you just can't go back. You can't look back. You just want to keep going forward to the light and to the future of what, like, I don't know what all of this will become in the future for us, but it's going to be incredible.
With me, it's gone both ways pretty much. There's been good times, bad times. Now it's been a much better time than it was in the past, but seems a lot of the community's trying to come together again and make the community better as a whole. Like, I've noticed a lot of streamers, they're all coming back together, and everyone's trying to make amends where they wanted to be divided before. So, I mean, I would say the community is doing good now. There's a lot of nice people. There's a lot of creators out here. A lot of talent. You know, they actually like being involved with each other now.
Me personally, making new friends is probably the reason.
Really, every time I join into VRChat, I usually go world hopping, and most of the time, the VRChat, I met so many people on VRChat, and they've been so nice. Sometimes there's players online that usually go overboard with their avatars and make me crash, but it's all in good fun though. But yeah, A lot of the people in VRChat are all amazing.
But the VRChat community, I ended up finding a new friend group and everything when I joined because my old friend group was kind of falling apart a little bit, and like everyone was further away and not talking to each other as much, and gas was really expensive. And since I live so rural, I was like, hey, I'll just jump in here and see if I can find a new group, and I did much sooner than I thought. And we've known each other for around what 8 months now, and come to call each other family.
Like regaining some sort of social aspect in my life. You know, living in a rural town, there's not really many people for me to talk to, and this is the best way for me to kind of communicate with people and make friends again. You know, so it's meant a lot to me. I feel like people do judge you more on how you look IRL, and than they do in game. People become attached to you because of your personality rather than like what your physical assets actually are. Because we all know these aren't what we physically represent real life, but you know, people become attached to that personality and you just become friends regardless.
VRChat has given me a lovely place to hang out. I've benefited by gaining a lot of new friends, people that I never would have met, and have even started to meet face to face in real life. I've even gotten a VR family, which I've come to love very, very much.
The general personalities around it, like Sean, have really helped me mentally and emotionally. I've come further in 3 months-ish than of just being around people and being socially accepted and being able to represent who I am based on avatars and behavior and all that kind of stuff. Than 2 years of therapy, which it's just meant a lot to me. It allows me to express who I am more so than I can in the real world.
Being a part of this community has meant so much, not only to myself, but to a lot of my newfound friends and loved ones. It is without a doubt that this community deserves its place in the spotlight and shown for what it really is. This documentary is dedicated to the players of VRChat who have helped me grow and learn so much. They have shown me nothing but care and love, with fun and cherished memories. If this is the beginning of how life in virtual reality is, then I cannot wait to see where it goes in the near future. Thank you all.